Right now, on to the point.
Changes to California's Cap and Invest program aims to cut energy and gas costs. But critics say there's no guarantee consumers will actually see any savings.
For the second night in a row, voters have a chance to hear from the top candidates for California governor. A look at what to expect in tonight's debate. After 30 years, a new search in the disappearance of Kristin Smart, what investigators are looking for now.
Hopefully they're just turning over every stone now.
This AAPI Heritage Month, honoring culture through movement. How an ancient Japanese martial art is preserving tradition, history, and identity. Tonight, California's flagship climate program is at the center of a growing political fight. Good evening, as always. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Alex Bell. As oil refineries close in the state and gas prices rise, the Air Resources Board is trying to do something to help. But as ABC 10's Jeannie Nguyen shows us, finding a solution is pretty difficult.
For hours Wednesday.
Without MDI-enabled investment, California cannot meet our 2030 or 2045 net zero targets.
The California Air Resources Board, or CARB, addressed concerns about its recent proposed amendments to the Cap and Invest program.
We strongly oppose the MDI, which would divert billions to big oil.
The program allows polluters like gas refineries to buy credits to continue operating. Those credits, also known as allowances, are revenue collected by the state and can be returned to consumers through rebates on things like energy bills. CARB Chair Lauren Sanchez says these changes, if passed, would help support the existing refineries in the state while still meeting the state's climate goals. In the past year, 2 California refineries announced their closures, Valero in Benicia and Phillips 66 in Los Angeles.
The first proposed change is additional support for the industrial sector to comply with the program. So that should lower costs. The second is a new feature in the market called the Manufacturing Decarbonization Incentive. A lot of discussion on that. That would essentially provide additional support to facilities to fund some of the critical upgrades we need them to be doing to achieve our climate goals and lower their pollution.
The incentives proposed by CARB would provide $4 billion to major polluters. Changes would only be in effect until 2030. How the state moves forward following 2030 is still unknown. The CEO of the Western States Petroleum Association says these amendments could be a step in the right direction, but the long-term impacts still remain uncertain.
Our companies are planning 10, 15, 20 years out. So only giving them that till 2029 certainty really doesn't drive the investments to the state. It's tough. We really appreciate market-based programs. We have supported market-based programs in the past. We continue to support them in concept, but they have to be designed right.
Sanchez says if the incentives are approved,
we will immediately begin the very comprehensive monitoring, evaluation, and assessment of the program and make sure that we are able to propose any tweaks that are needed to make sure that we're balancing our goals.
And adds those who do not follow the rules would have to give back the money. But one question remains.
How is it exactly that we are going to give additional allowances to industry and then that is somehow going to actually lower costs for consumers?
Sanchez insists these amendments do just that.
These amendments will lower electric bills and will ensure no additional gas price increase.
In Sacramento, Jeannie Nguyen, ABC 10.
A final decision on the amendments is expected by May 28th. The public comment period has ended. And tonight, the 7 leading candidates running to become California's next governor are back on the debate stage tonight. The same 2 Republicans and 5 Democrats from last night's debate will face off again in Los Angeles. But candidates will have half the debate time than they did last night. Political experts that we talked to say expect more of the same, like Democrat Javier Becerra, who's seen a surge in support following Eric Swalwell's exit, being the repeat target of attacks.
It was kind of a food fight where candidates were talking over each other and trying to butt in to get their points across. And I think you can probably understand that in the fact that there's less than a month to go before the election. Javier Becerra is the new shiny object at the top of the heap. And so he's going to be the one who was attacked because you have to bring him down a peg or two in order for you, another candidate, to rise up and make that runoff.
And Democrat Tony Thurmond was also not invited to this debate because he did not meet the polling threshold. But we will have ABC 10 political reporter Jenny Huh with an update on that debate coming up tonight at 11. Well, a coalition of labor unions rallied at the state capitol today. The California Labor for Climate Jobs Coalition says the rising cost of living, workplace safety concerns, and staffing shortages in key state agencies are putting pressure on workers. But union leaders say a package of proposed bills could address concerns while preparing California's workforce for the impacts of climate change. The coalition is now demanding that they take action on the affordability crisis. And streaming right now on the free ABC 10 streaming app, To the Point is taking a closer look at the top candidates for governor and their plans for solving the state's affordability crisis. You can find it on the home screen there. All right, the federal government will be able to keep the 2020 election ballots from Georgia's Fulton County. They were seized by the FBI from a warehouse near Atlanta. A judge issued the ruling just today. Lawyers for the county argue that the ballots and other election materials should be returned because the seizure was improper and unconstitutional. The January 28th seizure targeted the elections hub in Georgia's most populous county, which is heavily Democratic and includes most of the Atlanta area. The county has been at the center of the unfounded claims by President Trump that widespread fraud cost him the 2020 election. Well, there was a new search today in connection to the 1996 killing of Stockton native Kristin Smart. Today, authorities served a search warrant at a home connected to the man convicted in her death. A podcaster covering this case spoke from that home just today.
Every time that they do a search for her is that this is going to be the time they finally find her. Kristin's mom turned 80 just a few days ago, and her parents are still waiting for answers, and this would be perfect timing.
You might remember Smart disappeared from the Cal Poly San Luis Obispo campus in 1996. The San Luis Obispo County Sheriff's Office say the search was related to the ongoing investigation into her disappearance. Her remains were never found, and she was declared legally dead in 2002. Her classmate, Paul Flores, was convicted in her murder in 2024 and sentenced to 25 years to life in prison. Still ahead on To the Point, a possible breakthrough in the conflict between the U.S. and Iran. New details on a proposed temporary deal to end the fighting. And then we're introducing you to a woman practicing an ancient Japanese martial art as a way to honor her culture, history, and tradition.
Temperatures were pretty close to seasonal today in the mid to upper 70s, but we're back in the 80s tomorrow and Friday. And then we're going into the 90s as we head through the weekend. I've got a full look at the forecast after the break.
But first, another headlines tonight. CNN founder Ted Turner died today at the age of 87. According to Turner Enterprises, he launched CNN in 1980 and was also behind other popular channels. In 2018, Turner revealed he had a progressive brain disorder. He was hospitalized in 2025 with pneumonia and spent time in a rehabilitation facility. 3 people were evacuated today from a cruise ship in the Atlantic in a suspected hantavirus outbreak. There are at least 8 suspected cases. 3 people have died. Today's rescue crew off the coast of Africa arrived in full protective gear as patients were loaded onto ambulances. The ship is now headed for the Canary Islands, where passengers and crew will be examined. And Apple agreed to a $250 million settlement. The class action lawsuit claimed Apple misled consumers by promoting features that didn't exist when the iPhone 16 launched in 2024. If approved, the deal means that owners could receive anywhere from $25 to $95. All right, let's get a check of our forecast with meteorologist Brendan Minchef. Brendan, I heard that the warm heat is on the way. It's been a long week for all of us here. We're just like hanging on today.
You know, we're halfway through. That's not too bad.
Like the cool weather, we're barely hanging on.
Well, that is a fact. The cool weather is gone for the foreseeable future. We're back to seasonal today. 76 in Sacramento, 78 in Stockton, 77 in Modesto, 66 Placerville, 72 in Truckee, and 68 in Tahoe this afternoon. Temperatures in Tahoe 9 degrees warmer than normal, but across the valley very seasonal, within a couple degrees really of where we'd expect to be. But weather impact alert coming begins on Sunday, continues through Wednesday. We're looking at our first 90-degree days of the year, but we're not stopping at 90. we are getting pretty close to the century mark early next week. We'll look at the weather pattern in just a second. 75 in Sacramento right now, 76 in Stockton, 77 in Modesto, 68 in Jackson, 66 in Tahoe, and 72 in Truckee. Thursday morning starts off cool, pretty close to where we ought to be. Normal low is 50. I've got 52 in Sacramento, 52 in Vacaville and Fairfield, 50 in Stockton, 52 in Tracy, 54 in Modesto, 49 in Angels Camp, 54 in Marysville, 55 in Colusa, and 30s up near Tahoe. Thursday afternoon, sunny and warm. Now we're going above average. The normal high 78. I'm forecasting 82 tomorrow in Sacramento, 84 in Stockton, 86 Modesto, about 81 Vacaville, 79 in Fairfield, 80 in Sonora and Angels Camp, 78 in Auburn, upper 60s and low 70s in the high country. So that system that we had that brought us the cooler weather and some of that rain, that's moving out of here. High pressure is building in behind it. By the weekend, we're going to be in the low 90s, but by the start of next week and continuing through Monday and Tuesday, we're talking mid to upper 90s. So a very hot Mother's Day weekend is ahead, and that continues to start next week. Now, fire danger, every time it gets warmer, we start thinking more and more about fire danger, but the good news is it's going to remain low through this heat event. Doesn't mean we can't see some grass fires. Keep that in mind, but overall, the fire danger is lower, in large part thanks to this being the first heat event we've had since we've had some rain. April was very wet, and we just had some showers on Monday. That will get us through this event, likely without any large fires. But look at how warm things are getting. Low 90s, mid 90s, some upper 90s. I've got 96 on Monday and 98 on Tuesday. Alex.
All right, Brendan, thank you. And don't forget, our ABC 10 Weather Impact team is always here for you. If you do want to check out the latest conditions, make sure you scan that QR code on your screen right now. You can check out our live 24/7 radar. It is completely free. And if you scan that QR code, it'll give you easy instructions to download that app so you can stream wherever you watch. All right, coming up after the break, as the conflict in Iran drags on, drivers continue to pay more for gas, even as oil prices show signs of easing. And we're also celebrating Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month with a look at an ancient Japanese martial art teaching more than archery. The U.S. and Iran may be getting closer to a temporary deal to end the war. A source familiar with the matter says negotiations are discussing a plan that would declare an end to the conflict and launch a 30-day window to resolve other sticking points. A one-page memo on the plan reportedly includes a long-term pause on uranium enrichment and would require Iran to ship out its stockpile of highly enriched uranium. President Donald Trump says his top priority is reopening the Strait of Hormuz and finding a diplomatic off-ramp to the conflict. The White House remains cautious, though, after previous negotiations collapsed at the last minute. Meanwhile, Iran said that ships can pass safely through the Strait of Hormuz under new procedures. This comes after the U.S. paused its short-lived escort mission, Project Freedom. Tehran thanked ship captains for complying with Iranian regulations while continuing to assert sovereignty over the waterway. Tehran also signaled plans to charge ships for transit, a move criticized as illegal and potentially damaging to renewed peace efforts. While the war continues, the price of gas, it still remains high, with prices up 6 cents since yesterday. According to AAA, a gallon of regular gas is now sitting at $6.16 for us here in California. The good news, though, oil prices are down. The U.S. benchmark WTI crude is below $100 a barrel. That follows days above that price point. Brent crude is the global standard. It is down to around $100. That's after it closed a record high for the year just on Monday. And May is Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month as we celebrate the history and contributions of these communities. Tonight, ABC 10's Laura Painter takes us to a place where an ancient Japanese martial art is keeping culture, history, and tradition alive.
In a quiet corner of Sacramento, an ancient art once used in war is now teaching something very different: peace. Kyudo of Florin is a nonprofit recreational Japanese archery club, founded and led by Paula Yoshioka, now in its 4th year.
A spirit that exists when you shoot Kyudo. It's mindfulness.
The Japanese culture is very spiritual, right?
It's very spiritual.
Kyudo means way of the bow. one of Japan's oldest martial arts, now practiced as a form of mindfulness.
The technique is like none other. Kyudo, the arrow's on the right. If you do it correctly, the string will spin around and hit the other side of your hand.
Wow.
But that's something that masters take a long time to achieve. It's not easy.
That sounds very difficult.
Yeah.
Today, Kyudo is practiced not only in Japan, but also across the U.S. and around the world.
Walk us through some of these photos.
This is after the war. This is my grandmother.
Her grandparents farmed strawberries here before being sent to internment camps during World War II. Now, on the same grounds her family once walked, Paula is rebuilding something that was nearly lost.
It's like full circle, you know, because I lived in Hawaii for 30 years. I never expected to come here and do something that would bring me full circle with my family.
It was in Hawaii where Paula met fellow Kyudo archer Christopher O'Neill, who helped her establish the practice in Florin.
What material is this?
This string is made out of a synthetic fiber.
The equipment is handmade in Japan, precise and deeply rooted in tradition, costing thousands of dollars.
What do you think your descendants would think about what you're doing right now?
They're probably saying, don't shoot anybody, Paula. Don't do it. But we have insurance, so we're good.
I love your sense of humor. Do you bring that into your courses and how you're teaching folk?
We try. Nice. You know, this is a recreational Kyudo group. Mm-hmm. There are very serious Kyudo groups, very formal, different from this. We want to teach people how to shoot well, how to be safe when they do it, to appreciate the culture behind it. Stop!
To make Kyudo more accessible, Paula and her team provide equipment for students to use.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
that's so kind because some people may be put off by the investment right away.
Sure, they're like, oh, that's expensive, but
yes,
they
could think that.
What we're finding is once they start to the point where they're going to shoot, they get excited, and they go like, I've got to have my own glove, I've got to have my own bow.
For Paula, it's more than archery, it's culture, it's history, and it's a connection that continues to grow with every shot.
My hope is that this will just continue on.
Paula says people of all skill levels are welcome, including newbies. And if you are interested, the group practices on Fridays from 6:30 to 9 p.m. And we do have their contact information over on our website at abc10.com. Now, we will have more stories celebrating AA and HPI Heritage Month, and you can watch all of them on our free ABC 10 Plus TV streaming app. Your voice, your vote, streaming on ABC 10.
I'm looking for someone, a leader, who is going to keep those prices down.
While many are struggling to make ends meet,
I want to stay in California, and I need it to be fixed.
Now there's a chance for a new direction.
I want to see their logic, how they're going to get to their goal.
I'd like to see integrity.
As voters cast their ballots,
what are you going to do about the cost of living, the cost of gasoline?
Where the top candidates for governor stand on their promises for change. Don't miss this ABC 10 election special Saturday at 10 p.m. only on ABC 10 and the ABC 10 streaming app. Tomorrow in our Champion of Hope, we are taking you out to Bradshaw Animal Shelter, where one woman is quietly making a life-saving impact, helping thousands of animals get a second chance. Now, behind the scenes, Sarah Warren is working to connect some of the shelter's most at-risk animals, including those with medical or behavioral challenges, with rescue groups and adopters. It is a critical role, so tomorrow in our Champions of Hope, we're showing you the impact of her work and really how it's really saving so many lives across Sacramento County. Super cute story. Is also so nice to see some of the animals. They have so many that you can adopt. So we'll share all the details for tomorrow. All right. Thank you so much for watching, for always inviting us to your home. Have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow evening.